Welcome back. It's the Neon Nightcast podcast, season 2.
Is it
Uh,
is
this
it gonna be
time
better than
it's
season one?
yeah. This time it's personnel, kid.
I
That
don't.
was bad.
That was
Anyways,
terrible.
we're back and it's better than ever. It's season 2 of the Neon Nightcast podcast. I am Michael Thrax, and I am joined once again by Eric, Dr. Soybean, and Garrett Zagri.
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure indeed.
Wait, Eric, where's your or as I like to call you, where's that at?
Is
You
that
know
not
what?
coming back for season 2?
Yeah, are we cutting it out for season 2? I don't know. Just curious.
I didn't have one in mind, so maybe we'll see a return of it.
All right,
But,
all right. Sounds good.
Okay.
Let's just see how it goes, you know?
We may or may not have new art done, but we'll talk about it in the next one, just in case. But yeah, we're back. We took a little bit of a hiatus there for a little bit, but
For a good long
we're feeling
bit.
we're feeling that passion again, viewers, for podcasting and let's play-ins and so on and so forth. So like today, we have a little bit of a new format that we're gonna try out for season 2.
We're just gonna be
and
free. We're just gonna
it's
talk
just gonna
about
be-
whatever
yeah.
comes into our little heads.
Yeah, it's just gonna be a thing. So
Just
Let's
three
start it
three
off.
friends sitting on a couch chilling. You know.
just sitting on talking, and you know what? We're gonna start it off, and something I wanted to do this as its own podcast, but new format. Well, we won't touch on it for the hour, but what are our favorite action movies, and what do we look for in an action movie?
See,
What makes it a good action?
whenever you brought this up earlier, you wanted to do drama. What makes a good drama series and what makes a good action movie?
Movie.
I had
I
this
I
drama-
wanted to go either or.
Because I had this drama TV show in my head
Right,
that
I forgot.
was like it's one of my favorite dramas. It's called The West Wing with Charlie Sheen, Rob Lowe, Allison Janney, and I think that's all the ones I can name off the top of my head. And it's just a political drama where they're just following this staff of the president throughout his term. And I think what makes it a good show is that like they don't always win. They get fucked a lot.
Yeah.
And it's kind of depressing. But another reason I think I might like it is also because I agree with them politically. Where they were aiming politically, I agreed with. But it was a great show because they didn't win all the time. Like if they were trying to get a bill passed, like sometimes they wouldn't get it passed, and it would be super sad. But that's
Or politicians.
that's more realistic than just winning every time.
Yeah.
I never watched that show, but I remember specifically in school, they made us watch the episode they made to like deal with 9/11. They actually made us watch that in school.
I think that's one of the later seasons, and I don't remember the later seasons as well as the early seasons. So
Later season, it was like 2001.
yeah, I think it came out in
It's
like
an old show.
95.
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
The West Wing.
Well, regardless, that's pretty old if it was airing during.
Oh wow, I'm way off. Okay, it was 1999. Why did I think it's so early? I don't know. I guess I don't know. I don't remember that episode, I guess.
Well, how did they deal with 9/11, Eric?
Yeah, tell me what
Well,
happens.
it was like they were like doing some like tour group of students who were like visiting the
Oh.
White House.
Bodies.
And then they had like they had like a terror threat, and they got locked down in the cafeteria, and they had this big long discussion about terrorists and shit like that.
Yeah. Okay, so if we're gonna go with dramas, then so my favorite drama, and I can't really think of a movie, because I guess there are drama movies, but more so TV shows. So I'll say 2, and I guess one might kind of be an action too, but Smallville and Carnival, and they're both kind of similar that they have action in them. Smallville more, but both of
Smallville
them
more what?
had a little more action, a little more fighting and stuff in it. But why am I cutting out or?
Yeah, you cut out.
Oh,
You kind of
sorry.
don't worry, just push on.
So basically, for me, for a drama, it has to have like will they, won't they relationships. It has to have, I guess, a little bit of action because both the shows, I'm just kind of whatever.
Do
Like
they
mystery.
fight? Are they like
Well, in
punches?
Smallville,
Smallville,
yeah,
yeah, because that's
Carnival.
that's the superhero one, right?
Yeah, it's like Clark Kent when he's
Car-
in high school.
And Carnival was that one that they canceled because some guy like claimed it was too similar to a book he
Yeah.
wrote like 20 years previously.
Yeah,
Mm.
Carnival is about a traveling circus in the Great Depression, and they pick up this kid who's like a healer, and at the same time, there's a preacher that is becoming like a devil or a demon, and it's kind of like it's those two in their conflict. There's also a lot of mystery within like a lot of the staff of the carnival. Like the leader is like this thing. It's like an entity. Like I don't think you ever see it.
Is it Jesus?
I don't know. And then there's there's a love interest between two side characters, and yeah, I don't know. Like so, for me, it's just kind of like romance is like a secondary thing around this main storyline that's kind of like a mystery. Well, what's going on, and that's for me what makes
See,
a good drama.
I feel like whenever I watch mystery shows, if it's based on something else, like, well, let's bring something pretty modern into it. Avengers: Infinity War. Like, it's based off comics. Like, if you read the comics, you probably know what's gonna happen in the next
Yeah.
movie. And I'm just like, whenever that shit happens to me, I'm like Googling what the fuck's gonna happen because I can't.
You can't deal.
I can't deal with it. Yeah, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, okay, let me just like find these comics and read them and you know
Yeah.
find out what happens. I mean,
But that's-
I feel like that's not as bad as like literally just looking up spoilers and reading it. But
Yeah, because it's it's the source material, but it might be different, but that's part of like the drama, right? Is it's like that's what keeps you coming back is like not knowing what's gonna happen.
no, see, I guess, but then again, like on TV shows that I'm watching, like if they're like Cheers or something. I mean, Cheers isn't a drama, but like if I think someone's gonna die or like get written off the show, I Google and I see how long they were on the show, and if it says they were
Yeah.
cut in season 5, I look up what happened and all that
You
shit.
know,
But
I've had moments where I do that. I can't think of something off the top of my head, but
like in Cheers, whenever the bartender dies, can't remember his name.
Oh,
The old man.
Coach.
Coach, yeah. Whenever Coach died, I was like, wait, why did they write him out of this? And then I realized he died in real life.
Yeah.
that show went so downhill.
I just
mean-
hate Christy Alley.
Yeah, Kirstie Alley was what brought it downhill. Like, it was great. Like, even after Coach was gone and they had Woody Allen. Well, not Woody Allen.
Woody though, right?
Yeah, Woody.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, what's his real name?
I
Can't think of it.
I can't think of it.
Anyway,
barking
whenever
up the wrong tree, my friend.
yeah, anyway, when they brought Woody on, it was still a good show because Woody played that naive, innocent idiot that everyone loved. And
He
I
was
thought
a
it was
lovable
still pretty
moron.
good. Yeah, a lot like you, Mike.
No.
But anyway, yeah,
No,
so that's
Woody-
why
Woody-
I have a problem with mystery and dramas. Like, it's good, and it makes me want, like, I get invested in the show still. Like, I always still continue to watch the show throughout.
Yeah.
But I do always end up looking up.
You don't mind
Spoilers.
spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, Woody was always a character that, to me, was too dumb. And like Aaron from The
Yeah.
Office,
He pushes the fucking envelope of
it's
acceptability.
just like no one's that dumb, and it just really takes me out of it when they write dumb characters. It's just
When they write dumb characters, they should never be dumber than Sam from Cheers. Because Sam was dumb, but he wasn't like overly dumb.
Yeah, it's just like there's like is he like a does he have the brain of like a 5-year-old? Because like no one's
I mean,
like this.
I don't know, but see, a lot of it was naivety too, though. Like whenever they were talking about Woody, like if they were talking about something sexual but using an innuendo, Woody would
Yeah.
think of it like literally and not sexually, you know. So
But,
it's,
like,
it is a lot of naivety too.
But like Aaron or even like Kevin from The Office, like
Okay, Aaron, the thing that has made it too stupid for me is when she was taking pictures with the disposable camera, and then she just threw it out, and she's like, "A disposable camera is fun, but if you want to be able to look at the pictures later, I recommend getting a real camera."
I
Yeah.
thought that was so funny though.
But it's like no one is that
one's like
stupid.
that.
Yeah, no one's that stupid, but it's, I don't know, I think it's funny to think of someone that's stupid. Like, because personally, I would never think of even writing a joke like that because it's so stupid, but it's funny
Yeah,
too.
I get what you're saying.
Sure,
It's creative in a way,
yeah, I guess. Yeah.
All right, whatever.
Well, whatever. Eric, do you have a drama, or what you look for in a drama?
I guess like I like see, I like drama. I like stuff that takes itself seriously, but for me there's a fine line between taking it so seriously and taking itself too fucking seriously.
Where
And
does
I can't-
Star Trek TNG fall on that line?
I wouldn't say that takes itself too seriously.
All right.
No, Star Trek's pretty humble.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to get a reference for where Eric
Oh.
is.
I guess this is kind of off topic, but you reminded me of it when you brought up TNG. Is earlier in our Star Trek episode, you talked about how you preferred Deep Space Nine.
I still do. It's great.
And I had a buddy. Well, I have a buddy who currently rewatched Deep Space Nine. He watched it a long, long time ago, but he currently rewatched the whole series, and he was talking to me about it. And he's like me and Mike. He does prefer TNG, but for him, DS9 is a very close second. And he was like, "Yeah, like I forgot like how awesome the series is, and Captain Sisko's awesome." But he goes, "Man, do I ever fucking hate Jake, like Sisko's son?"
See,
He's like
Jake
he's
can-
he's such an annoying little pussy beanpole.
like. All right. So in the first couple seasons, yes, he is. But once he like gets older, like I would say like the last maybe 3 seasons of Deep Space Nine, he's a decent character because that's whenever they're having the Cardassian War, and he's like still on Deep Space Nine even after Starfleet left, because he's like a war reporter basically. But I think I agree with him for the first couple seasons, but in the later seasons, I would say his character gets really well developed. And that's another thing. Like that's another drama I was gonna bring up too, is Deep Space Nine, because Deep Space Nine is such a fucking good drama too, and
Yeah.
it's just amazing because like the character development in Deep Space Nine is great. Like you get to know about so much of each of the characters' lives. Like there are like an episode devoted to like just one character, like every season, like more than one even a season, like 2 or 3 a season are like just devoted to one character. Like you're just finding out about like Kira
Yeah.
and what she did during the war, or Cisco whenever he was growing up, or shit like that.
TNG did basically the same thing, and I think that's part of like Star Trek just wasn't another sci-fi show, because like you did really get to know these characters and their backstories and stuff.
Yeah.
So back to the question, Eric.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I can't really think of any examples okay, like shit like Dawson's Creek, where it's just like people like contemplatively looking over the water with tears in their eyes. Like that type of shit I can't stand.
What about
Yeah.
soap operas? Do you love those, Eric?
Well, those are just so over the top with the drama that it's kind of funny.
See,
but,
those are so weird because it's like they bring sci-fi elements almost into it too, because it's like someone's dead, but no, it was his brother, his
Or it was a
twin brother.
coma.
Yeah, it's so dumb.
There was a soap opera with like a puppet that would come alive.
That was
Remember
probably I
think
can't.
that was hold on. I think I
Passions,
know.
maybe.
No, Trailer
there
Park
was-
Boys. There was a puppet that came.
Because there was one there was one soap opera called, I think it was Passions. I never watched it, but I just remember hearing about it because they had like storylines about like witches and magic powers and vampires and shit like that. So
That's
maybe that was it.
See, the only
Yeah.
soap operas my mom watched were Days of Our Lives and General Hospital, I think.
Yeah.
I think those are
were
like the big
ones.
two.
Yeah. It's all everyone used to talk
But
about.
like, I feel like she'd been watching them for decades because I'm pretty sure like she was watching them when she was a kid or something.
Oh,
So,
they were ongoing for so long. There's like Coronation Street, which is like one of the longest running TV shows in forever.
Doctor Who. I mean, Doctor Who actually had a huge hiatus between like season 9
But-
and 10, but
I'm pretty sure like Coronation Street was going on when my mom was a teenager, and I think it's still going on. Maybe it's canceled. I don't know. I don't.
Well, there was some soap opera called Days of Our Lives that started in the 50s and didn't end until like 2010. So
yeah, no,
yeah,
I'll
that's
not watch
crazy.
that one. And it's funny because a lot of the characters from Days of Our Lives went to General Hospital, and it's just like, or not characters, but a lot of the actors.
Oh, actors, yeah.
And so now, like, because what was really weird, because occasionally I would watch this show with my mom because I was just bored hanging around the house. And, like, one character in Days of Our Lives would be like this, like, really gruff cop, like, detective. And then in General Hospital, he's like a nurse.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
yeah.
it's weird seeing the difference in character, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Some actors, like, you like them so much in one role that
you
when
can't
you
really
see
see
them,
them as anything else.
yeah, like the guy that plays Dwight.
Mm.
Rainn Wilson.
Yeah, again, to come back to The Office because I've been rewatching it. Like, what if he like was a villain in a movie, or like the good guy from a movie?
I mean, there was that one comedy, a post-apocalyptic comedy or something he did with Frodo, I think. Can't
A
think of
movie
Frodo's
or
name. Elijah Wood. I think, yeah, it was called Cooties, I think. And basically, he was the janitor at a kindergarten. And the kids at the kindergarten contracted a zombie virus. So all the kids at the school became zombies. And so it's like all the teachers and him, because he's the janitor, like fighting off these like kids as zombies. I never watched it, but I remember seeing the trailer.
Yeah, I remember seeing the trailer too. Kind of a neat idea.
Yeah, I think it was a neat idea.
You know what?
Watch it now.
You know what's not a neat idea?
There's a lot of not neat ideas. Like, go
Well,
ahead.
Yeah, a not neat idea is hitting 9 people with your truck on a sideway.
Okay, that was a terrible segue.
You didn't like that segue?
I didn't like it at all. That was awful. Like, because you're trying to make a joke out of a tragic.
No, it wasn't. It's not a joke. It's very tragic.
It sounded like a joke to me, Mike.
Was it a joke? It wasn't a joke. I'm sorry if you thought that was a joke. Yeah, so recently in Toronto, some crazy lunatic man hit 9 people with his van. 10 people with his van, and 9 people died?
No, 10 people died, 15 were injured. No, 10 died, 5 were injured, something like that.
Toronto
But this
van
happened
attack.
like literally right in front of my work, so it was pretty fucked up.
Yeah, we were driving downtown one night after work, and yeah, I remember being like, "Oh, this is my brother's building," and then there was like the big memorial for it, and there's a bunch of people out there, and
Yeah.
I don't know, like maybe because like things like this happen all the time and all over the world, but because it happened in Toronto, I wasn't shooken or whatever, but I was just like,
Shaken.
yeah, like this doesn't happen in Canada. Like shit
Well-
like this doesn't really happen. The last thing I can remember really big happening was that guy on the Greyhound bus that like cut off someone's head.
Yeah, the schizophrenic
the
guy who had
fuck?
like a
When was
mental
that?
episode.
Oh,
That was like back
years
in, like,
ago.
like 2008 or 9 or something like that.
Jesus.
And he was on a Greyhound. He had some kind of severe psychotic break, and he actually like beheaded the fucking guy.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
Like beheading someone is not easy to do at all.
Yeah.
No.
Like, so
It's
beheading
not.
someone, like, I don't know what kind of tool he was using, but that sounds really fucking hard.
I'm sure there was a lot of mess.
I mean, there
But
has to
yeah, shit, I lost what I was gonna say though.
be.
'Cause like,
Well,
stuff like that happens all the time in Toronto and
well, there were 10 deaths and 16 non-fatal injuries, so 26 people involved total.
one thing I will say, and maybe I sound like an asshole. Maybe it's me. You guys will let me know. But I had a lot of people, and a lot of people that I know that don't even live in Toronto, direct Toronto, but in the area. So on Facebook, you can check in as okay when something like that happens.
Well, I did it because it happened right in front of my fucking work.
And sure, but there's like somebody that did that and they live in Vaughan. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone thought you were one of the 15 people involved in this.
Well, I feel like
It was sort of annoying.
I don't know. I don't, because Vaughan would, if someone lived in Vaughan and they visited someone else, like say in the States, would they say, "Oh yeah, I live in Toronto"? Because no one's gonna know where the fuck Vaughan is,
Yeah.
right? So if they have friends that don't live in Canada, that don't know like the
The
location,
area.
I mean,
Okay.
I feel like it's fair. I mean, your critique is, I mean, I don't know where to go on it, but I think it's fair
find-
that they said that they were safe. If like you live in Toronto, because again, like if I had a friend in Toronto that that this happens, or that lived in Toronto when this happened, like I'd be like messaging him saying, "Hey, the fuck,
Wait,
where you at?"
You didn't message me.
Yeah, because you're not my friend. You're a coworker.
Yeah. I find a
No,
lot of
but-
times, and okay, I understand. I guess a lot of people take things differently from other people, but a lot of people were like, "This is a really big eye opener." You don't think that this is going to happen, and blah blah blah. Like that could have been me. I walked down that road, and I find though sometimes, and maybe this isn't fair to say, but I think sometimes people try to make things
About themselves.
tragedies about themselves so they can get some kind of attention from it, and maybe that's not where they're coming from.
I mean, I definitely think that happens, but again, if all they do is check in to say, "Hey, I'm safe," like I wasn't involved, and say
Yeah.
nothing else about it,
Well,
I'm perfectly fine with that.
There were people that I know that were making like Instagram stories or posts and like on their Snapchat and all these like deep little paragraphs of their thoughts, and like,
Well,
it's
I'll
fair.
tell you what pissed me off most about it is the guy who did the attack was an incel. And for those for our viewers who aren't aware, incels are these fucking losers who think that it's women's fault that they can't get laid because they don't know how to fucking
I
talk to
heard
women.
about that.
Like they're losers basically.
Yeah.
But what pissed me off about it is there have been like, I don't know, 5 of these truck attacks in recent memory in Europe that were all done by Muslims. And when that happens, these people are like, "Oh, we can't condemn all Muslims for this. This is the action of an individual, blah, blah, blah," which is fair enough. But then these same shit clowns who say that when they found out this guy's an incel, it's like, "Oh my God, incels are the new terrorist threat. You have to be
Yeah.
careful around men, blah, blah, blah." And it's like, oh God, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. That's just really
I
frustrating.
fucking hate people
It's
like that.
just like don't stereotype unless it's against men. Because yes, all men are rapists. Right?
I know. I think
Yeah.
it's like, don't stereotype unless it's against a race or religion. That's
Yeah.
when you can't stereotype.
Yeah.
And which I think is fair.
And see, this is well,
But,
this is the thing. Like, I'm not defending incels, but
No.
to try and pretend that, like, now we're gonna see some revolution of incels slaughtering people in the street.
No, that's
Or that-
it's one.
You know what I mean?
fucking
It's
thing.
like,
I mean,
shut
It-
up.
it's
If-
not
if-
ISIS. They're not the next ISIS.
if in the
it's
next
just one of
m-
them went fucking nutso.
Yeah, if in the next month, like, we get like 10 other
Another
incels
one.
attacks, like,
Sure.
then okay,
Let's
then,
look into it.
Yeah, but again, yeah, like, one person, like in a group of people, you're gonna have like at least one person who's off the radar.
So, kind of talking about this, kind of just, I just heard about this last night, and I don't know how recent, how relevant it is. But in Europe, apparently you're not allowed to make jokes about the Holocaust or Nazis or whatever, because this guy, who the story is his girlfriend has this pug.
Dankula?
Yeah.
Count Dankula?
Yeah. His girlfriend has this pug who she brags about it being adorable all the time. Everything it does is so cute. So he's like, I'm going to teach it the most disgusting thing I can think of. And what he taught it to do was to put its little paw up when he said, like, gas all Jews.
Right.
And then someone sued him or whatever, took him to court, and he's now going to jail for it?
No, on appeal.
Okay.
But at the same time, I mean, if you don't think that's fucking terrifying, because they actually said in court, they tried to make the argument that, like, they're like, listen, it's the context of how he did it. He's not doing it to make a serious statement. He was doing it. And they actually said in court, they're like, oh, context doesn't matter in this case. No, shithead. Free speech is all about context.
Yeah, exactly.
Britain is such a fucking joke when it comes to shit like that. It's like, oi, bruv, you got a license for that fucking butter knife? You got a license for that TV? You got a license for your license, you cheeky wanker? Like, I mean, holy shit.
No, that's crazy, because, like, but, like, even still, like, just teaching a dog to do that's not a crime.
Yeah, Philip DeFranco actually had a great video about this whenever the verdict was released, because after whenever Count Dankula was walking out, he was talking to a reporter, and the reporter was like, you said gas all Jews multiple times, and yet you say that, like, context matters. He's like, yeah, you just said gas all Jews too. Does context not matter to you?
Yeah, like, shouldn't you go to jail now?
Too? Yeah,
you should be in court. Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, context absolutely matters. Like, Dankula, obviously, I feel like, is a decently smart guy if he's going to be able to just, like, turn that on to the reporter, like, immediately.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, context matters so much. Like, it was supposed to be a fucking joke. And
he doesn't have a fucking swastika tattooed on his fucking head.
And
he's not a Nazi. He's not openly about it. He's not a fucking skinhead. It's just a joke. In the video that he posted, he has the dog sit in front of fucking Nazi propaganda videos. It's like, that's a joke.
Yeah, because, I mean, who's going to think the dog actually can understand any of that? Like,
and if the dog's a Nazi, well, we got to put it down, right? I saw that that was a joke from the H3H3 podcast, but, like, you know,
see, another thing that goddamn, we're pulling so much from H3. I was gonna say something from H3, like, just because something offended you does not mean it was meant to be offensive.
Exactly, and that's so on the point. Like, okay, if you're a Jewish person, and I guess I can't understand it because I'm not Jewish, I can't understand how that actually feels, but, you know, it's not in a hateful way. I guess actually I don't have a point as I'm talking. I'm like kind of like, no, because, like, what if I was saying the N-word? Like, that's still not good. So I just don't think, like, I just don't think it's not a big deal. It really is such a tiny thing that just shouldn't even gone to court.
And not only that, but, like, I hate
it's
to
just
sound
a waste of, like, time and money.
Well, I hate to sound like a crotchety old man, but, like, you're wasting the taxpayers' money for
that's
a
what
trial for this.
That's what I was just saying. That's just a waste of fucking resources. It was just a joke. I don't know. Okay, my mind's going now. Another thing that really kind of irritated me in recent news was the girl wearing the Chinese style dress to prom.
My culture is not your goddamn prom dress.
No, I'm not gonna steal from H3H3 in this one, but
that's a huge
what do we
meme.
think, boys?
That's a huge meme all over right now, and I think it's actually pretty funny because, like, now it's used as a joke. Now everyone knows that that's a fucking joke. Like, you don't use that shit because it didn't make any sense to use
didn't
that
make
against
any
that
sense.
girl. Like, it was just stupid. So now
It's
I
not-
love that it's a meme now, because
Yeah.
now people are fucking memeing all about it. So everyone knows it's a
It's-
joke.
It's
See,
not like she had like makeup done up to make her look like a Chinese person, and she's going like ching ching wong ching. Like it's just a dress.
God damn, you were fucking racist, Mike.
It's
Is
literally
that how Chinese people sound to you? Ching ching
No,
wong
but
ching?
that's like the stereotypical racist thing, right?
Well,
Context here, context.
What I think about that is that I can almost fucking guarantee you that if you actually asked anybody who lives in China if they cared about
They didn't
that,
give
they
a shit.
probably
Oh
they'd
yeah.
probably say no
They-
and not give a fuck.
So
Instead,
it
it's
was on
an
the news in
opportunity-
China, and Chinese people were like, we don't get
I
why.
don't care.
Yeah, like
We don't,
Instead-
yeah.
we like that
It's-
she's wearing this dress. It's a nice fucking dress. Like, good for her.
Right,
She's
it's a-
appreciating our culture.
It's an opportunity for a bunch of Asian people who grew up in America and have parents rich enough to send them to college where they can get a toilet paper degree in feminist dance theory and kill Whitey 101
God.
Jesus,
and get up
Eric
on their
going
fucking
off.
high horse and be like, my culture is not a costume,
Well,
thank you
okay.
very much. And it's like, you know what? Me introducing my knee to your teeth is part of my culture. So
Now,
fuck
now,
yourself.
okay.
And
now-
the Chinese actually have a term called I might mispronounce this, bai swa, but it's a Chinese epithet meaning naive Western educated person who advocates for peace and equality only to satisfy their own feeling of moral superiority. Bai Saw only cares about topics such as immigration, minorities, LGBT, and the environment, while being obsessed with political correctness to the extent that they will
my
accept
God.
backwards Islamic values for the sake of multiculturalism. The Chinese see them as ignorant and arrogant Westerners who pity the rest of the world and think they are saviors. And you know what? They're right on the
Popping
fucking
off.
money.
Popping off. Holy shit. Okay, so the two things I wanted to say about it was, so one kind of leads into the other, but first thing is, yeah, this guy that tried to flame her, I feel like he just saw it in a way to get attention on social media. He just wanted to be the next big fucking thing, get the 10,000 likes and have this girl get fucking cyberbullied, right? He wanted to do that. He took that advantage. He's just a
Yeah.
fucking douchebag. But at the same time, I like how this turned into this big joke and this big meme, because it's really showing the end of this era, this fad of like SJW.
Oh,
being
and it's not.
offended
Don't
over
kid
everything.
yourself. It's not.
No,
ending
it's really
anytime
going
soon.
away, Eric, because if this was 2 years ago, you know it would have been the other way around. You know it wouldn't have been a big joke. It would have been it would be more so of people being offended. It is showing the end of this fad of being offended over everything.
Are we done with being offended though?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think it is the beginning of the end.
I mean, what generation was it that, like, I don't know, because I'm just trying to think, what generation was it that like began PC culture? Like, it has
Well,
to be
see,
the
this is
generation
the
between
90s?
my age, people between my age and like maybe a couple years older than Eric, because
see, to us-
like it takes a while for it to become mainstream, right?
I
So-
remember, I remember, but I remember that stuff kind of starting in the 90s. Like, oh,
Yeah,
we
the
don't
90s
say this anymore, we say that.
Yeah, the 90s is definitely where it started. I mean, to a certain degree, it's like, okay, like, I mean, you can say PC is basically just like, I mean, the idea of not calling somebody a slur to their face, you could argue that that's fucking PC, and I think everybody would agree who's reasonable that you shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
But like anything, it can be taken to the extreme. And the problem with everything, I don't know if this is because of the internet or just the way the modern world works, but fucking everything, no matter what it is, if it starts off with a good intention, it always eventually gets taken to an unhealthy extreme. Always.
Yeah. People like to get caught up into things and just go with it. And
people want to belong.
I think a lot of people just get offended to be offended. Like, it was like cool to be that way, to be offended.
No, I mean, I think it goes back to Eric's point of whenever he's translating the Chinese words, it's because you want to feel a moral high ground.
Exactly.
Like you want to feel better than everyone else. Like you want to be
Look at how
superior to
educated
everyone
and
else.
enlightened I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that shit.
You know, I was talking to this to a coworker the other day, and one of my theories on all this stuff is so up until pretty recently and mankind, every day would be a struggle. Like you could die from starvation, disease.
Wow, you got to go back
bears.
quite a bit
No,
to get to that.
But yes, so as North American life gets more and more safe, more and more easy, I think we're just getting bored, and we just need to focus on these things that really we need strife. We need like struggle in our lives. So these are our new struggles.
You cut out.
Oh, I heard him. We need strife.
Okay,
we
well,
need struggle
we
in
need
our lives.
more struggle. We need struggle in our life. So this instead of like traveling 2 days to get fucking supplies, are we gonna die from some fucking disease? No, now we're just getting offended, and this is our struggle.
But again, I think that's a small minority. I think it's a small minority with a loud voice, because
It's a vocal minority.
Yes,
a lot of us still have to struggle quite a fucking bit. Like,
yeah. So that's what I'm saying is because most of these people are like rich, spoiled kids in college, right? They've never had to work or struggle. Like this SJW stuff that doesn't exist in fucking Africa. They don't give a fuck. They're just trying to fucking live.
Yeah, people. That's a good point. People who actually have real problems don't really give a shit about how a cartoon misgendered them or some bullshit like that.
Yeah. I think it all stems from just boredom, from not having to fucking fear.
I think it's a rich tapestry. I think it's that. I think it's the attitude of moral superiority.
Yeah.
I think it's probably a combination of both.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could find other things that feed into it also.
Let's take a step back. We're all a little heated. Let's talk about something a little more laid back. I don't know, Eric, you had something you wanted to talk about?
Well, I mean, this is coming out of left field from what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
But, I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine about pro wrestling, specifically WWE, but wrestling in general. Well, mostly WWE because that's the one everybody fucking watches because it's the only game in town now. And for a while, WWE, they kind of seem to take a cue from MMA. Like, we're not going to have gimmicks anymore. Everybody's just like, they have a name and they have their signature moves, but they don't really have like a character. And I don't think everybody needs to have a character. And essentially, you always had guys who were just like, Stan Hansen, and that was it. But if people wanted to watch fucking MMA, they'd watch MMA. I think people who watch
MMA is pretty dead.
I don't think it's dying at all. But I think.
Are you kidding me? MMA is not as big as it used to be.
I think boxing is dying, but I think MMA is still. I mean,
I remember going. What was that? What was the show? I don't even remember what it was called. I remember going to bars to watch like
UFC.
It's UFC fights. That's not. What do you mean? It's big. No one talks about UFC anymore. I remember hockey used to be a second thought in Toronto over UFC, and now like bars don't even play UFC.
It was probably bigger than it is now a couple years ago, but I don't think it's dying by any means. But anyways, my point is, like, I was talking to him about this new wrestler that WWE has who goes by the name Gentleman Jake Gallagher.
Oh,
and so like he dresses like an English guy from like 100 years ago, and like sometimes he wrestles in like a suit and a vest, and he has like one of those mustaches that like curls up at the ends.
Sounds pretty wacky.
And he does this move called where he dives off the apron onto somebody on the outside, and he does it while holding an umbrella, and he calls it Mary Poppins. And my buddy is like, and my buddy is like, that's stupid. And I'm like, yeah, it's goofy, but at least he has a fucking character. I mean, that was the whole thing.
That's going back to like crazy like 80s, 90s shit.
And the thing about wrestling, you actually said something when I brought wrestling up to you a week ago. You compared it to some type of anime. Do you remember that?
No, it's just, the joke is wrestling is just Western anime.
Oh, I definitely see that.
That's the meme, at least.
And in a way, I kind of like that. Kind of actually makes sense to me. Like when you think about how it's presented, and
it's essentially a Shonen Jump, right? They have like there's seasons and story arcs and fights, and it's the same thing, right?
yes, and I think wrestling, to be good, it has to be a balance between all of these different factors. Like so many things in life, it comes back to balance. You have to have the wacky characters, but you also have to have people who look like they can be legit badasses and fight. People want to see, the really choreographed stuff now, all the high flying stuff and the flipping stuff, but at the same time, it can go too far and it looks more like a dance than like people are actually trying to fight each other. So
Yeah.
I think they really just need to find a good balance of all these different styles.
Well, yeah, like I like back in the day, right? Like it was like they would have just normal human beings, but like there was the Undertaker, and he was like what, like a undead or something?
Yeah.
Like what the fuck was the storyline?
It wasn't
But
it
yeah,
that he was buried alive and
He was
dug his way
undead,
out, right? Oh,
and
was he
for a while-
actually undead? I didn't know that.
He was supposed to be undead, and for a while he had a manager, had an urn that contained his soul, and that's how he like controlled him.
Holy shit.
And see,
great.
that's cool. And like, yeah, like to not have that anymore, to take it so serious, it's just like, no, I like that goofy shit. I like it.
Yeah, if I don't know, it comes back to my original statement. If we wanted to watch UFC, we'd be watching UFC.
Yeah,
We
I
don't
mean,
wanna
I think
just
I think
have-
plenty of people are watching UFC still though, because I don't think UFC is dying at all. I think it still has a decent market because testosterone-filled guys love to see other testosterone-filled guys like beat the shit out of each other.
Well, and I agree with you. I'm just saying it felt like for a while there, just by giving everybody these generic names and not really giving character, it was like they were trying to have the influence of UFC in a way.
yeah.
And I don't think that works for wrestling fans,
Well,
because we understand it's not real. We understand it's just a show.
but you can understand for like marketing and profit, then like, oh, this thing is super similar to us, we should kind of try to get in on it.
It's not really
mean-
similar though.
Oh,
Wait, what's similar? WWE is similar to what though?
UFC.
I don't
think it's
think
similar at
so.
all.
Well, in a sense that it's like
It's
two
fighting.
things-
It's in the
it's
same
fighting.
category as fighting.
It's
and
guys
that's
fighting
That's
in
where
a
the
ring.
similarities I think kind of end.
I could see that, but that's what I'm saying. Like I could see them trying to get on that bandwagon to try to reach
Yeah.
out towards it because it was so big.
I mean, I think it's still big in other countries because I know WWE signed like a contract with Saudi Arabia. I think it was some weird ass
Yeah.
country that
Saudi
they're gonna do
Arabia.
a show every year for 10 years, and it's like a $1 million
Wow.
deal.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia paid them a shit ton of money
Yeah.
to come to their country and like put on a show, basically.
And then Saudi Arabia had to apologize to its citizens because
Oh,
there were
God.
scantily clad women in the WWE because the women wrestlers. I mean, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what Saudi Arabia expected WWE to do.
No,
but
it's even worse than that. They didn't bring any of their women wrestlers to Saudi Arabia. They weren't allowed. It's when they showed one of their commercials for a pay-per-view, there were women in the commercial.
oh,
so
that's
that-
okay.
Had to
Jesus.
apologize for obscenity, as they called it, because women were showing their whorishly uncovered heads. I mean, don't even get me started on that shit. I don't know why they fucking went to that country. Well, I do know why, money.
Well, yeah,
But,
money
well,
does
yeah.
anything.
They didn't
I
do
was-
it
I
for
was
fun.
pretty- I was pretty fucking disgusted by that, in the sense that, like, you know what? I'm sure there's good people in Saudi Arabia that were fans of WWE, and it's nice for them that they got to see a show in person, and good for them. I'm not gonna fucking shit on
Yeah.
them for that. But at the same time, when your government is literally run by, I mean, let's be honest here, backwards religious savages,
Ooh, damn. The new crown prince, though. The new crown prince seems to be the most liberal of any one they've had in a while. So that's nice. But continue.
Yeah.
Sorry. I mean, he's still he's still backward because I mean,
but it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, it's a step in the right direction. It's not
a step
great,
in the right
but
direction,
it's getting better.
But to tie this again into what we were talking about earlier, I guess. Why do you never see these fucking Bayuzos, as the Chinese call them? I'm sure I'm still mispronouncing it. Why do they never bitch about a country like Saudi Arabia?
No, that's another one of my points I always bring up is like the whole women's right movements. I like it, to a point, but yeah, they never talk about how like they're not
should
even.
Women just be in the kitchen, Mike?
No, but
Should
like
I
they
just be
never
making sandwiches for you all day.
Oh, I didn't like the men hate, but yeah, like they never talked about Saudi Arabia, where like they're not even human. They're not even treated like fucking humans.
They're not allowed to go out in public without accompaniment from a male relative or their husband.
Yeah, like that's crazy.
They can't leave their fucking.
I think.
I want to talk about oppression. That's fucking oppression.
Yes, but there also are like things that are happening to women in America that shouldn't be. Like we're supposed to be.
That compares to that?
I mean, no, it doesn't really compare, but like it doesn't mean that we shouldn't be talking about it.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you in the sense that like I do see that argument that like just because something is worse somewhere else doesn't mean you should talk about what's bad here. Exactly. I agree with that 100%, but the fact that they never talk about it is pretty fucking suspect. Yeah. And the fact that they have this fucking movie The Handmaid's Tale is coming out, and this is what it's going to be like for women in Trump's America. Well, no
one's saying that it's going to be like that for women in Trump's America. It's
actually a pretty accurate portrayal of what a woman's life is like under fucking Sharia law.
What they're saying with like The Handmaid's Tale, it's saying like what a strict religious, like Christian religious even, like life would be like for women. And yeah, you can compare that to strict Islamic religions because they're pretty similar. Like women don't have rights in religion.
Is there any country in the world that still has strict Christian religion like that in the government? No.
Probably some African nations, like, because African nations, once they like Christianity is fucking poo-poo. Overflowing in African nations, and
they eat the poo-poo, Eric.
Yeah, I don't know if that's so much Christianity as just them really fucking hating gay people. I don't know. I don't know if that comes from a Christian perspective, to be honest with you. I would have to do. I mean, I know that what you're referencing.
I would imagine so, right?
Yeah, I don't know. What other like cultural phenomenon other than like religion makes you hate homosexuals?
Yeah.
Well, the Soviet Union was supposedly an atheist government, and homosexuality was illegal there.
That's because like they think gay people molest children. So I guess there's one.
So I don't think that had anything to do with that. I think it was...
like Putin. Well, I guess I'm not thinking Soviet, but Putin.
Yeah, no, Putin thinks that's just propaganda. It's not illegal.
It is propaganda, but I mean, I guess so. I'm fighting against my own argument here, but I guess that's a phenomenon that could make people hate gays. But it's like completely factually incorrect in every way. So
I'm pretty sure
why like Putin hates gay people so much. I think it's just because his base hates gay people. I mean, he doesn't even need a base because he's fucking got all the power over there. So he doesn't need anyone to vote for him. But
when the atheist communists were in power, it was made illegal. I don't know. I would have to research it more, but I'm gonna guess it was probably viewed as being like decadent and Western or something like that. Yeah. Despite what NBC wants you to believe, it's not illegal to be gay in modern Russia. It's just illegal to have a gay pride parade. It's also illegal to have a gay pride parade in fucking Japan, and being gay isn't illegal in Japan either. There's just certain countries that have decided, and whether you agree with this or not, I mean, you could say this it's I guess a freedom of expression issue, but they've decided like, look, you can be gay, but we don't need you walking down the public street shaking your dick. And I think that's a little bit different than, again the Saudis.
Exaggeration.
It is.
I think that's a bit different. I think that's a bit different than the Saudis fucking saying, if you're gay, we're going to cut your head off with a sword in a public fucking square.
Yeah, but
okay,
again,
okay.
because,
Those
just
are
because,
very different ways to like look at it. I think it's so fucked up, right? Because freedom of speech and blah blah blah. Like to have like the fucking parades be illegal, like that's pretty dumb.
And
but
again,
I'm not saying I
going
agree
back
with
to the
it.
point where just because it's worse somewhere else doesn't mean you can't make it better where you are.
Yeah, I agree with you, but again, like the only countries these fucks complain with are the countries that the media tells them to complain about. Oh, we're supposed to hate Russia now because, you know, Trump supposedly colluded with them, but we can't talk about Saudi Arabia because they're our fucking allies for some reason. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
like
I agree with you totally on that. Like, we
Yeah,
should be talking
yeah.
more about Saudi Arabia, but yeah, because we get our oil from them, we're like, let's just
Everything they
shove
do,
everything they
it's
do under
say
the
okay.
rug, and
Yeah.
we'll deal with it later, I guess, but probably never.
Yeah, no, like, but we only talk shit about our enemies, right?
Yeah.
Why would you say anything negative about like our allied countries?
Well, I know Canada fucking sucks, so there's
Fuck
that.
you love fucking Canada. But you know what? We could talk about all this next time.
All right, we're ending it. Is this how we're going to end,
We're like
end them again?
we're into an hour.
Are we?
We'll talk about this
We're
next
not
time.
into an hour. We're 51 minutes.
Neon Nightcast, episode 2, season 2.
Maybe.
Hey, we'll talk to you next time. All right.
See ya.
Bye.